New York Times with a story last night by Kay Kelly and Mark Mazzetti talking about the day that Larry Kudlow came on our air, February 25, and said that the COVID pandemic was not contained airtight, but pretty close to airtight, as the Times now says that they were the administration was giving private briefings to some investors and people affiliated with the Hoover Institution that, in fact, it was not perhaps airtight. All this leads back to an interview that Jim had with David Tepper from Appaloosa at the Super Bowl on Feb 1. Take a listen.
We're trying to back engineer it ourselves right now, so I think that's what you got to do is try to figure it out. Certainly ruined the environment and the setup right now, so it's brand new. So
and what's important, I know that you talked to Joe, it was a good time, but it's a game changer, isn't it?
You have to be careful because it may be a game changer, so you just got to be cautious. And 2 weeks ago, before the virus, it was one thing, and it's a different environment right now, so that's what it is.
Jim, on Twitter, you called the article strange.
Yes. Well, okay, because there's some implications to the article. One of them is that somehow Tepper might be in the inner circle with the president. I don't think you can be that because on May 15th of 2018, he called the president the father of lies, and he used an interesting term. He called him a demented, narcissistic scumbag. Now, that's usually not something that makes it so that you're close to the president. So it did sound like it's like he's getting the call. The narcissistic, I used that term once. I'm not going to use it a second time. But I get in trouble sometimes when I use these terms. But I recognize that he gets a lot of emails, whatever. But the reason why he felt compelled to say what he said to me was, you know what, I was on CNBC not long ago talking to Joe, and I was very bullish. And since I read this Lancet article, we had both read it at the same time, I feel compelled to tell the CNBC audience that I am not as bullish as I was when I was talking to Joe. Somehow this thing has become that there's this vast conspiracy of hedge fund managers who talk to Larry and get the skinny, and it's completely untrue. David Tepper, I don't know, did he get emails from Hoover? I don't know. But the idea that he was going to have some sort of tie. David, do you think the president likes those kinds how about when the president, when he said Tepper said that the president gave not one dime to 9/11 or to Superstorm Sandy? These don't endear him to the president.
No, I don't believe Mr. Tepper is a supporter of the president and the idea that somehow he would be alerted to information that was available to them. By the way, Larry Kudlow, you're going to listen to, let's be honest. How many times has he come on our show? Endlessly.
He was on
and said something
he was on yesterday
that the opposite of which is actually true. How many times, Jim? I know he's an old friend. Old colleague. I happen to be very fond of him.
People want me to trash him. That's what they want. They've wanted.
My point is that if you are a hedge fund manager or you're anybody, I'm not necessarily sure that you're going to be listening to him and believe that whatever is being told to you is actually going to happen or be true at that moment in time.
You have to take
the same way he was saying that it was all contained. And then he said it again or 2 weeks later when we challenged him on it.
He works for a president who listens to us every word. They have dinner a great deal together. I have said over and over again, he was my partner for 4 years. It's called loyalty. Now, does that make, as long as you disclose it.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.